Emmanuel Apostolic Church, Everton, Thomas, and joins us to share his plans. Morning, Bishop. Welcome to Smile Jamaica, sir.
Morning, thank you.
How are you? Welcome.
Well, sir.
I think Neville started off and he said it perfectly. Before we jump down and we start speaking about the Easter weekend specifically, just how is the church community doing? It's been a year since COVID, and we know that the church is usually the core and the anchor for so many milestones, whether it's baptism, it's christening, it's the shut-ins, it's the support when we've had a lost one. The church is really a part of people's community. And how has the community been since 2020 now into 2021?
Well, different strokes for different folks. Some churches are handling it well, some are not. Some are trying to cope, some are still trying to catch up with the digital online space. But it does affect us in terms of the fellowship, the absence of the fellowship. We have been accustomed to getting together, shaking hands, hugging, smiling, giving high fives, but all of that has had to stop, even when we were able to do the 6 feet distancing. And depending on your building size, you could accommodate maybe 50 or 100, 200. You still have restrictions. So it's not been easy. And some folks, I think some churches have taken it out of context. I don't agree with churches that violate the protocols and the rules. But, to each his own. But we have been trying our best to deal with it.
Yeah, you said you don't want to violate the rules, but what would you like to see? Again, before we speak about this weekend or the weekend, what would you like to see? Do you still think that you should have people coming to church, whether the numbers are small or what? What do you like to see, Bishop?
No, I think if there's a spike, I'm a practical person. As a matter of fact, in Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 20, the word says, "Go, my people, enter your rooms and shut the doors behind you. Hide yourselves for a little while until his wrath has passed by." That's quarantine in the Bible. but some people may not agree with me. But look at this other example in Matthew chapter 2. The Bible says, "And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise and take the young child, Jesus Christ, and his mother, and flee into Egypt." Why? Because, Herod was after all the young children to destroy them. You mean to tell me that the great God of heaven, who gave Joseph this message through his angel, could not have, miraculously preserved Jesus where he was? Why did he have to tell him to flee? In other words, sometimes we get so spiritual, but I believe you cannot be more spiritual than you are scriptural. If the virus is spiking, we have to minimize the contact. It's not going to be forever. It's not an edict or mandate for 12 months. We are trying to curb this thing and bring it under control. We have to work with what is best for us.
So, you could not have made a more salient point than the one that you did. So now, we're celebrating Good Friday. We move into, Easter Sunday, Easter Monday, which is a massive, well, for some, a holiday, but for a lot of us, it's really spiritual. Are you having any services? Are you facilitating services during this weekend?
Oh, on Sunday, we were considering Good Friday today, which is a good tradition, but because we're in the middle of our International Youth Week, started on Monday and finishes tonight, we opted not to have a day service, but tonight we get back online, and of course we will talk about this, but Sunday for sure. We've been doing digital services for nearly 10 years. We've been online, streaming live streams, so it wasn't difficult for us to pivot. Pivot is the word in the corporate space now.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I came up with an acrostic for pivot for the church, for our church, and this is what I'm going to be sharing on Sunday. We're having a service, but pivot for the church means prophetically inspired voice of thanksgiving.
All right.
Prophetically inspired voice of thanksgiving. We have to pivot. We have to learn how to go with the flow, roll with the punches. I think in the end, we're all going to be better for it. But we are having our regular live stream beginning at 8 o'clock from the Portmore location, and then at 10 o'clock from the Kingston Slightmore location. I do happen to pastor both congregations.
How important is this weekend to the church, Bishop Thomas?
Oh, well, you know, Easter is the time when we celebrate the resurrection. As a matter of fact, Easter Sunday is called Resurrection Sunday. But Good Friday, which today is at some people, I used to say when I was a kid, what is so good about Good Friday if we're commemorating his death? But his death has meant so much to all of us and to the church. His death, in other words, he did this all for us. And so, you know, Good Friday, of course, Holy Thursday yesterday, the entire week is known as Holy Week. And in some places around the world, the entire Easter season is known as Great Friday, Good Friday, Holy Weekend. But yes, it's extremely significant as we think about his death and his resurrection. Matter of fact, I preached a message once called The Cradle, the Cross, and the Crown. So we talk about his birth as one of the greatest days in history. We talk about the cross, which was when he died, as we commemorate that today. And then on Sunday morning, Resurrection Sunday, is another time. But then when he is going to be crowned as King of Kings and Lord of Lords, that's when he will be crowned. So the cradle, the cross, and the crown is very significant for us at this time.
From a young man, I used to hear on the third day, and on the third day, some people say Sunday, and then they say 3 days after will be Monday. Is the Sunday or the Monday is the third day? So if today is Friday, the third day will be where?